Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
How you doing? All right, we are going to jump right in and get started right away because we have a very special guest speaker who, Jennifer, I love the hat.
It's the money. It's money. See?
Okay. Oh, all right. I was going to say there must be a story behind it. Guys, we are going to power through the beginning of the meeting pretty quickly because for those of you who aren't aware, and those of you who are, Jason Gorman is joining us as our special guest. And I don't know about you guys, but he is one of my favorites from an inspirational and motivational type speaker and trainer that we have the pleasure of visiting with us at least once a year. And Jason, we need to change that. We need to get you on our calendar more often. So thank you so much for joining us today. So I'm just going to quickly breeze through the team meeting, and then without further ado, we're going to turn the reins over to Jason, and you guys are going to be in for a treat. Sound good? All right. So another reminder, in case we have not drilled this into your head enough yet, family reunion, guys. If your intention is to sign up, you need to do that as soon as possible in order to take advantage of the discounted rate that we're able to do. Also, too, just quick reminder for you guys to mute yourselves so that we don't have any of that background noise when Jason's going to talk here in a little bit. So family reunion, get registered, raise your hand, let Katie know. We can put it on your monthly invoice. It is an absolutely amazing opportunity for you to be able to take this class at a fraction of the regular cost. So the dates are there on the screen. It's the 15th through the 18th. It's virtual. You will be able to go back and access some of the family reunion breakouts and whatnot. So make sure you get registered or let someone in leadership know. All right, we have a few new cappers in the house. Tom and Jody Moroshek and Ryan Murphy. So congrats to them. Cap Day is always a happy day. If you happen to see them in the office or come across them or want to give them a shout out in the chat room, please do. But congrats to all three of you for reaching Cap Day. And then Lisa, I am going to let you take it from here with the rest of the notes. And again, Jason, I want to thank you. I'm going to have to log off a little early, but we are recording you because I have a recruiting appointment. But I want to thank you again personally for investing time in us and sharing your wealth of knowledge with our agents. So thank you. And Lisa, take it away.
Sounds good. Thanks, Erin. Good luck. Drive safe. Okay, so congratulations to our top performers in December. On the left-hand side, you'll see top listings taken volume, top closed volume, top listings sold, and associates added to the team. Some of the numbers we're really excited about too for 2020 are profit share, KDB Cares, KDB Kids Can Foundation, donations, and year-to-date profit share. Year-to-date profit share, as you know, like blew last year out of the water by almost $80,000. So awesome numbers. And then we've got some firsts for our agents over on the right-hand side. So Aruna, Dan, and Tyler with their first closing. So congratulations, guys. We're rushing through this because you don't want to hear from me. So just going to get you the information that we want to get you, and then we'll get this turned over to Jason. So really the only things I want to point out on the training calendar are the prep to get paid with Katie from 1 to 3 today. So if you have not taken that class, be sure to hop on. That's going to give you all the information that you need in order to get paid on time, which we all like. Master faculty class next Wednesday and Thursday with Kelly. So listing forms and buyer forms, those are big ones. And then this Friday, hopefully you signed up and hopefully we have your order, but we've got our virtual holiday party and awards banquet on Friday starting at 5:30. Super fun stuff planned. Couple of surprises that we're, that you'll see once we, have the presentation. So we think it's going to be really fun. So hopefully you registered. And then the leverage series. Oopsie. The leverage series. Katie, I know career visioning is part of this. So if you wouldn't mind just speaking to this really quickly. And this is tomorrow and the 21st. I'll put the link in the chat.
Yep, absolutely. So this is a fantastic opportunity to get 3 courses in one. So the 3-part series consists of career visioning, which is regarding the process of making a good hire. 30, 60, 90, which is the process of training that hire, and then success through others, so building up your team. Usually these are a couple day events in the Twin Cities. So you're getting all 3 events for $99, which is a huge value for not very much cost. So if you have any intentions of doing any hiring in the future, or if you just want to learn the process in case that happens down the line, I wouldn't pass this opportunity up. It's just too good of a value. If you've got questions on what these different courses consist of, let us know and we can get you more information.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. And I'll put the link to sign up in the chat too once Jason hops on. And I feel like it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow on the 21st. I'm not sure what the start time is. We'll get the information. Okay, and without further ado, Jason Gorman's going to be hopping on with us here in a second. Just a little bit of information about Jason. He's been in real estate for 24 years and sold over 4,300 homes. Jason, we pulled this off your website, so if this is updated and you want to speak to that, please feel free. Owner of some different
It's a few years old, but it's close.
It's an opportunity for you to update your website.
That's the truth.
Like we don't all have enough going on. All right, Jason. Well, I'm going to be quiet now and let you take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And I can share my screen probably when you're done sharing, or whoever's screen is being shared. All right. Can everyone hear me, or anyone hear me? If one person can, that'll be good, right? So I've been in this business. So for some of you, I obviously a lot of familiar faces, and some I don't know. I've been selling real estate since 1993. So 27 years, actually 27 and some change, and just about, 40, I think 4,900 homes or 4,850 homes as of this year. We did another 200 this year. We have a team of 10 salespeople right now, 6 on average throughout 2020. We added 4 here in the fourth quarter of this last year. So our goal is to get to 300 units by the end of 2021. I was a solo agent basically for my first 8 years. So I was with Coldwell Banker Burnett Realty back in the day. We would do right around $1 million GCI back then. And I was a solo agent, so we would do 30 to 35 million a year, basically by myself and one assistant. We read the Red Book, came to Keller, started building a team. I've lost my entire team twice. Everyone on you can check my website, everyone but Becky. She's the only one that hasn't left. So she was there in the very beginning, and so since then we've rebuilt the team twice. 2020 was our best year ever. We did 67 million in production. Like I said, 200 units. Our average sales price going up certainly was our biggest fact. We've actually done more than 200 units, but it was during the short sale days, and our average sales price dropped quite a bit. So succeeding through and with other people requires systems. And so what we're going to talk about today is kind of our lead gen system for 2021. Really, it's a duplication of 2020. We've just improved it a little bit. So it's really, we just have to generate enough leads, right? So whether you want to sell 25 houses or 225 houses, it's the exact same process. It's just, what are your 3 objectives? So for those of you that have heard of like a 1-3-5, we want to break it down to what is your 1 goal? What are the 3 objectives you're going to get there? And then what are the 5 strategies under each objective? Katie has a copy of this entire presentation. So if you want a copy of it, you can email her and she'll just get you a copy of it. If you guys have any questions at all, you can always reach out to me. Katie can get you my contact information. You can call me on my cell anytime, or if you just want to have a Zoom meeting like this or something with specific questions, I'm happy to do that. Like I say, it's one thing I'll start with this, and that is mindset is super crucial. And Lori knows this because Lori and I coached together, and I was telling her last week or maybe the week before, I've had literally probably some of the hardest 60 days of my 27 years. I lost more business in the last 60 days than I can remember ever losing in a 60-day period of time. I lost close to $10 million in business literally in just the last 60 days, $3 million from one client. Which is a really good friend. Well, kind of. Not as good of a friend as they were prior when they were going to work with me, but less of a friend now. And so, challenges happen, right? Your life happens. You deal with setbacks. You have a deal fall apart. I have a buyer agent on my team that lost her one and only pending closing yesterday. And so we had to have that same discussion. It's like, it doesn't hurt less. It doesn't hurt less if you lose, a ton of business or one deal, or if it's your only transaction. Setbacks and challenges are part of life. They're part of real estate and your mindset. So being fearful. So successful people have one thing in common. They hate failing, but they don't fear it. They hate it. So the subtle difference I want you to pick up today is that don't be afraid of failing. You can still be crabby about it, still be really mad about it. In fact, you should be really upset about it if you want to be competitive. No one wants to lose. No successful person wants to lose. If you're afraid of losing, you won't take action. So if you're afraid of losing, if you're afraid of 2021, if you're afraid of the market, if you're afraid of the economy, if you're afraid of your shadow, right? Like all of us have been through those days where you're just like, God, it's just like, I don't know if I want to be on monster.com or if I want to, prospect for some new listings. Being afraid of failure is what will keep you from taking action. So with that, I'm going to get into this. Stop me at any time. I'll see if I can find it here. Can we see this? All right. So first of all, you want to choose your activities. So what we talked about first is mindset. So mindset is one of those things, so we go through this with each agent on our team. Mindset is that, I think I listened to that Bigger Pockets podcast, and that's where I got that changing your mindset from fearing failure, if you ever are fearful, to changing it and saying, I hate failure. I'm not afraid of it though, because that's really crucial. You can go through a rough patch. You can have a rough day. You don't have to have a rough month, a rough year, right? We all go through challenges. So that mindset is really crucial. If you get into a really great big fight with your spouse or significant other or your child, it makes it more difficult to have a great day, right? So your mindset really does control everything. Your skill set is something you can improve yourself. And so things like this, like taking time, Katie alluded to the leverage series or the class that they have coming. Every single class like that I can get on, every single family reunion, every single mega camp, I've never missed one since I've been here in 2002. If you're not engaging in the education in this company, then you're overpaying. I mean, you can find a cheaper place to work. You just can't find a cheaper place that will educate you and change your trajectory of your future. That's not possible. But you can find cheaper places that don't provide education. If people are not engaged, get them engaged, because the education will change the trajectory of your life. So you have to work on your skill set. The tools we use are a growth plan, which should include classes and books and things that you want to do. It doesn't have to only be about real estate. I'm just addicted to this business. Like, I love it. I've done this since I was 18. So this is my hobby, right? Like, I like to ice fish and I like to hunt. I like to do things. And I love reading books about business. I mean, it's dumb, it's like, I suppose some people like to knit or something. I love talking about real estate. So your growth plan is really important. That's going to be what you're going to do this year to get better. It could be that you want to learn a different language. It could be that you want to become an arm wrestling champion, right? I don't care what it is, right? You just put down on your growth plan what you want to accomplish this year. It should include some things about getting better about real estate. The financial plan. Where are you going to be money-wise? What's your goals? It's really important to be financially literate. It's really important to know how much you spend, how much you save, how much you invest. So if we don't have a clear blueprint for it, what you inspect, you can expect. If you expect your financials to grow, yet you don't look at them, you need to change that. So you need to put together your financial plan. And then the third thing is your business plan. Not everyone, a lot of people in this company have heard about business planning, which is how we got, a lot of people are successful within Keller Williams. Business planning is super important, as is your financial plan and your growth plan. Okay, so that's your skill set. And then at the top, so this is where we're going to dive in today. So I'm just giving you a little bit of background because I'm going to move super fast through the lead gen or the prospecting part. The top of the pyramid really is where the rubber meets the road. Now, again, if you have a crappy mindset and you don't practice and you use script and role play on your appointments, and that's the only time you get better at what you do, then it will be a more challenging road. You can shorten the learning curve by simply working on those things and then creating that block time for the activities that you'll do from a lead gen standpoint. Tools that you should be using: an ideal weekly schedule, a daily activity record, and you should have a coach. If you can't afford a coach or don't want a coach, for those of you I've known for a long time, you can head up to the grocery store. You can see this. This is a can of dog food. It's $4. I think it used to be like $2. I think it's like $3 or $4 now. You can buy this. And on the very top, you can write down your goal. And if you don't do it, then you eat it. Okay, this can be your coach. It's only $4. It lasts forever. You don't ever have to eat it. You just have to know, okay, I should have. So the difference between a goal and a wish is really like that. That's where you have to make that definition. Am I going to do something, or do I just wish that I would do something? For those of you that have kids, would you ever say to your kid, I'll try to get back by 4, like if you pick them up from school at 4, mommy will try and be there by 4. You're like either going to be there at 4 or you're not. Like either you're going to call your past clients and ask them for business or check in with them and see how they're doing during the pandemic or not. It's not complicated, yet the more successful you get, the more creative you get about avoiding what you need to do. So it's just creative avoidance. All right, so you're going to pick 3. You're going to pick 3 activities. All these come from the Red Book. You guys have heard of the Red Book. All I did was take my brain barely got out of high school, right? Like I barely graduated. And so I needed to simplify the Red Book. So this is me reading the Red Book over 20 times and simplifying it down to what I have learned from being at Keller. So mindset, skill set, activities. These are the activities. I think it's off page like 187 from the Red Book. It's all the activities and a few more. When the Red Book was on there, they didn't talk about DM or, private messaging or social media because obviously, when it was written, we didn't even have Facebook. So everyone needs to choose their sphere. So you're going to pick 3 and it has to have sphere. If you want to white out the X and skip your sphere because you don't have one or whatever, then we're going to probably try to have a conversation to say, do you have anyone? Right? Like you moved here 6 months ago. Have you met anyone? I mean, you might only have 9 people in your sphere versus 150, but start with the people who know you, like you, and trust you. The goal with any other group is so that you know them, like them, and trust them, or they know you, like you, and trust you. So the goal with any other group, whether it's someone that you meet at an open house, someone that you meet on social media, someone that you text message, or you meet door knocking, or you call an expired listing, all of the goals of that person is to move them into a group that that would call you if they needed real estate. Now, if we're going to actively avoid the people who already know us, like us, and trust us, there is no sense in finding any more people to actively ignore. So we have to start with our sphere and we have to make sure that we're marketing to them. You'll see that when we get to my 135, these are the 3 that we chose for our team. My real 135, just full disclosure, this is my lead gen 135. My real 135 is systems, people, and leads. if I could move my camera, which is mounted to the wall, like everything in me is like, it's probably all in threes because my brain is like, at a 3-year-old level. So I have systems, people, and leads. That's my three main things. But from a lead gen standpoint, it's our sphere of influence and past clients or our database. It's Google ads, which we do paid ads. And then now it's command ads, which we just started this last year in the fourth quarter. And our goal is to double our Google ad budget on KW Command. It's sort of messy. If you're on your own, it's a little bit easier with KW Command. If you're on a team, or if you have a larger, if you have 2-3 buyer agents or whatever, KW Command, just call me separately or offline and we can talk more about it. It's just a little wonky when you're trying to have 3-4 people working leads in one system. Command is getting better, and that's the only reason we don't do that as our full. They're way cheaper ads, way cheaper leads. Those are our three. Okay, so our business objective for 2021 is 300 closings. The three goals to achieve that objective are our sphere, Google Ads, and KW Command. And then you'll see under each, for our sphere, our big thing that we promote is our 4 client events. So if you do 4 client events, now one of our client events we're doing right now till the end of January, and it's a coat drive. So coat drive, blanket drive, any warm clothes, whatever, partner with your church, we use a company called One Warm Coat. Now, the reason we use One Warm Coat is it's just a big national organization. They work with communities. They also work with churches to get people onto the list for deserving families, people that need coats or whatever. The reason we partnered with them was more from a little bit of the social media / goodwill. They actually advertise and market us. And we're on their website, and there's thousands of people going to that, and they're most of the people going to the website are actually thinking about donating. And our big thing is to make sure that people know that that's a big part of what we do. Is we want to give back to our community, we want to help people, and we want to make sure that they know that we're doing what we can to help other people in need. So that's a free event. Now, when you think about events, like we do the big pie event every year, give away a few hundred pies. And that's a more costly event, but doing a coat drive or a blanket drive or warm clothes, we always do it December and January. It gives us the entire month of December. It's after our pie event, so we have the entire month of December to be calling people. And it goes like this, so John Buckingham, so I'm calling you, you're my past client, right? So John, I haven't seen you in forever. Just wanted to let you know that our real estate team is doing a coat drive right now just to give back to people in need. There are so many families that just need a coat. If you get anything over the holiday season or anything, or you just want to get rid of stuff, you can either drop it at our office or we're happy to come and pick it up.
Jason, that's a great idea. I have coats for you.
Awesome. So yeah, I would love to swing out and just see how you're doing. And, I could come out either on Thursday or Friday of this week. I'm actually going to be out running and just picking up a few things from clients. Very
good. Let's do Friday at 10 a.m. I'll send you a text.
Awesome. I'll see you then. And so I'm not trying to get any business. So your 4 events are for simply the one thing that you need to do. If you talk to your clients, your past clients, your friends, your relatives, your cousin, your brother, if we can't make a call to give away a free pie, to ask people if they'd like to donate to something to help other people, right? Another one we do in the summer is a backpack drive or a school drive. We have a lot of young kids and young families on our team. So people really like to do that. And again, those 2 are simple. They're free. And it gives people the chance to help you and to help other people. And all you're looking for is a reason to call people 4 times a year that has absolutely nothing to do with selling real estate. And your only script is my real estate team or my real estate office. That's the only thing you need to say about real estate. They will ask you about real estate. If you just ask, the easiest way to ask or to get them to ask you about real estate is to ask them how their business is going. How's work? How's work going? Then just be quiet. They'll tell you. And then usually they'll ask you, well, so how's real estate? And that's your opening. And again, if you call with the intention to get business, you'll seldom get business ever. If you call with the intention to just be nice to people and to follow up with them and to make sure you haven't lost track of them, right? That's the goal. That's your sphere. Client events, 4 calls per year, emails twice per month, our monthly mailings, and then our social media engagement. And you'll see our entire marketing plan, which we have attached to this as well. And that's put together every year by my marketing director. And so it's her responsibility to make sure, and this goes back to everything on there has happened. It just used to happen in my brain. Now someone actually just puts it on a calendar for the year, and it's in, pretty colors and it looks nice. But I've been doing the mailings like for 27 years. And they used to be me cutting and pasting out of magazines. For those of you that are old, you remember, like, that's the way we used to put flyers together. Like, you would cut things and paste them, and you would Xerox, right? I mean, you'd Xerox your flyers and then send them out. You'd fold them in 3, and that's the way. There was no computers. I mean, when I started, we didn't have computers. I had a bag cell phone, right? So it's easy now, or easier in a lot of respects. Okay, so Google Ads. Sorry, I'm like a lot to go through in a short amount of time. So for those of you that, I'm sorry, I'm moving fast. Google Ads. So our budget is $3,500 a month right now for our Google Ads. Our goal is to double that. Right now we're sitting at around 300 leads a month coming in. We need 450 to hit our goal this year. So we break it down by lead. In order for us to hit 300 closings, we need 450 Google AdWord leads based upon a 2% conversion. So my goal is to get that between 3 and 5, but I'll settle for 2, right? I won't fire everyone and like abandon this entire thing. If I get 2%, I'd really like it to be 5, right? So we did hire a new ISA. So I have 2 people calling right now. So Luetta on my team calls. She calls about a third of her time right now. And then I have another full-time ISA that calls 40 hours a week. So between the 2 of them, they're like 1 1/4 to 1 1/3 time. Luetta is supposed to be back on full-time. So I would have 2 full-time dialing 350 leads per month. This says 300 because when we put this together, we actually thought that we could hit 300 when we really looked at our numbers. So this was done back in October. When we looked at our numbers, we realized that our conversion rate wasn't where I thought it was, where I thought it was better. And I'm like, well, we need 450. So now we ramped them up. We're just not there yet. So adding enough leads to the automated drip campaign. So we use, the heck is the name of that company? They do AI as far as lead follow-up. I will have to get that from Luetta, but it's a company that we pay $600 a month to, and it's like bolt-on AI if your website doesn't have it. They have auto text messaging, and they have all the stuff to basically follow up with the leads in addition to us calling them back. Now, again, you don't need to do all this. Like, if you don't have a buyer agent, if it's just you, maybe you need 20 leads, 30 leads per month. So start out with a smaller budget. And I'm not suggesting that you have to do Google AdWords. In fact, if you're on your own, I would only do KW Command, and you can keep track of them yourself. They're way cheaper, and I think they're better. They're going to be just as good, if not better, quality leads. And it's just, we've already been doing the Google AdWords for a long time, and we have ISAs and like already on staff. So KW Command, create an ad for each listing. So this is what we're doing right now. If you have people in your market center that are not doing KW Command, which is basically everyone, you probably have 10 people in your office that have run ads. All the rest of the people are easily approachable, and you could run ads on their listings, right? So people, they're not going to necessarily care. Anyone that wants could certainly run, well, we don't have anything in Rochester. You probably wouldn't want any leads on our listings up here in the cities, but you can find listings and run ads. So that's the main thing you want to run. Create an ad for each one of your listings. Create ads for new construction. So, make up a house, for instance, talk to a builder, say, find a builder, a smaller builder that you could work with. Say they build a house for $350,000, they have it and it's sold. Ask them, well, hey, would you build another one if we could find a lot for $50,000? Put together the package, advertise the package, and, you know, sell a new construction for that builder on a lot that's yet to be determined. Create an ad. So this is more for, again, what we're doing for our team. So creating an ad for East Metro or for Woodbury, creating specific ads for certain target markets. So for a lot of you, it's Rochester. For some of you, it might be Winona or other areas that, you know, you may want to create an ad, and you just have very little competition with those. Create an ad. Oops. Was that me? Create an ad for investment properties. So just take an investment property that's listed right now in your MLS, look at a duplex, a fourplex. We do some light commercial. So we've even run ads for commercial properties or industrial properties that have some tenants. And so create an ad for an investor, and then add smart plans for follow-up. I believe she has our smart plans actually attached, so we'll take a look at those. So sphere of influence, you got your 3 or 4 events, your 4 calls, your 2 emailings. We have monthly mailing that goes out, and then social media that goes out at least 2 to 3 times per week. Here's our marketing calendar. So this was, like I say, this is just a sample for 2019. Oh, she doesn't even have the 2020 in here. If you send me a separate email, if you want the 2020 or the 2021 calendar, I can certainly get you that. But this just shows you, you know, sending out the newsletter, creating an ad for the Santa event. So she's got on here all of the different things, like creating a poll on Instagram. I don't even know how to get into Instagram. Apparently I have one. I probably should be more into that stuff, and I'm not. So take from this what you will. The only thing I want you to hear or see is that we have a plan. It's probably not the best. Some of you may have a better plan. The one thing that we do is we do execute this plan. So we execute it. These are things that happen. So you can see, like here on Friday the 6th and on the 20th, she's going to put together all of our different closings, and it will be basically a video or a small montage of like these 10 clients closed in the last month, or these, you know, 5 clients closed in the last week. So it'll just be a thank you to all of them, videos, either pictures of the house or pictures of the people. And so you get your closings every couple of weeks. For Google AdWords, this is a lot of what we already talked about, but we call and text the leads 10 days in a row until we reach them. Then they get into a monthly rotation. So they get called every single day. They get called and texted every single day, and the AI goes after them at the same time. So most of the time what we find is that people, if you're going to do Google AdWords, if you're going to do any social media ads or any, let's call them low quality leads, because I think that all leads are the same, right? Every single person that you've ever met, every single person on the Zoom call is going to move. Every single one of you. You only have 2 options in life. You're either going to move or you're going to die, in which case then your family will be selling your house or they'll inherit it or whatever. So every single person will move. And if we follow up with them long enough, we can convert them. Most agents give up too far in advance because they're not thinking long term. They're looking for Friday closings all the time. And when you can't find Friday closings today, then you just get depressed. Then you start calling everyone and sorting them by like good leads and bad leads. There's no such thing as good or bad. It's just that if you're going to deal with something like a Google AdWords or Facebook, you just have to know your conversion rate when you're brand new might be 1 or 2%. Certainly if I were personally calling, I think I would easily be at 5% conversion, just because I think that I'm better on the phone than say newer people like our brand new ISA who's only been calling since October. It's just impossible for her to get that good, even though she's now had, you know, whatever, close to 1,000 leads. It's still hard for her to get the experience of like, you know, where are we going to, you know, how does she convert these people? And our big concern right now, she actually has been converting pretty decent, but we get a bunch of no-shows. So now I know like she's getting really good at getting the conversion, but they're not real. They're just trying to get her off the damn phone. So they'll book the appointment and then no-show the appointment. So just calling them really having a campaign for how often you follow up. The number one thing. So if you've never used Google AdWords, or you've never like robo-dialed a ton of people, like if I used to call FSBOs and expireds and canceleds, and I mean, those are certainly, everything is harder than your sphere. Everything is harder than your sphere. So just know, if you want to cut your teeth on any source other than your sphere, again, when I started, I was 18. A lot of my sphere, lived in their parents' basement like me, and didn't have any money. So, and eventually people from my restaurant job bought houses, people in my family bought houses, even people from high school, I sold their parents' houses. So that sphere, even though directly they weren't a lot of deals, indirectly it did create a bunch. Calling and texting. Texting is by far and away the most productive right now when calling or when communicating with leads. So I say the word call a lot. That's just how my brain thinks after 27 years. And I do realize that it's a prehistoric way to communicate. So if you're not texting, you need to figure that out. Texting and direct messaging are by far and away our best way to get people in a cold sense. And so the AI really does help because they're communicating and sending messages back and forth, in addition to our ISAs calling, texting, emailing. So we're doing everything. Okay, and then adding the contacted leads to your pipeline. This is the follow-up plan. So this goes through the email and text. So this is the plan that we actually use. I'm not going to go through every single piece of it, but you would, like I say, if you want a copy of this, you get it from Katie. And if you want to go through it more detailed, you can schedule up a time with Luetta on my team. She's the one that runs all this. All of this stuff, for those of you that know of Eric Hatch, he's a gigantic agent up in North Dakota. And so we copied all of this from him. So he's ran his ISA division for 6 years. And so we just took their text messaging and emails, basically copied them verbatim, and then that's what we send for our communication. So you can go ahead and copy that too. KW command. So create an ad for the listings, create an ad for new construction. Again, this is just, I don't even know why we have a duplicate on here. These are sample command ads. So when you're creating it, basically what you're going to, look at, we got 22 leads. So this is off of a place. So we listed some new constructions north of town. It was on for 5 days. We got 22 leads. So here's my question when I start inspecting what I expect is like, why don't we just run that every week then? Because we just get busy. We probably had to call the people back or something. So the biggest challenge, right, is not staying consistent. I look at this and I say, like a buck 36. My Google AdWords are like $10, right? $8, right? $8 a lead, right? It takes a lot of leads. Oopsie. So that's samples of the KW command ads. Here's the smart plan that we use. I'm not sure if this is customized or if it's just one of the pre-sorted smart plans. My guess is that they actually created this, like Luetta on my team created it. Again, we aren't going to go through the steps because we don't have enough time today. I want to make sure I leave some time for questions at the end. But again, you can add this smart plan, copy it exact, or find the one that looks, pretty close to this. And then make sure you're tracking. So the number one thing, so we're talking about leads, we're talking about lead gen. The title of this was, how do you do lead gen in 2021? With a few subtle differences from how we did it in 1993. The bottom line is this is a contact sport. And if you're not getting the money you want out of this business, you're not making enough contacts. And if you like that answer, then go back to that answer because that's the only answer you're going to get. If you're not making enough contacts, you won't make enough money. If you want to make more money, then just make more contacts. Yes, of course you can get better. Of course you can increase your efficiency. Of course you could do things that are just guaranteed to be successful. And you'll probably spend the rest of your year trying to figure out what would be the best move to make if you ever made one. And what you can do immediately is just increase the number of contacts that you're making on a weekly basis. Simply just a numeric equation. This is the only reason real estate has been simple for me is I had to simplify it to something from a math standpoint, that a high school dropout damn near, I graduated, but like literally by the grace of God. I was at a private school. Like, I feel like Jesus is the only reason I was able to get my diploma, right? Because it was certainly not from my grades. So I didn't make this business super complicated. And I think it's really important that you just need to know what the numeric equation is for you. So if you take the amount of closings you had last year, break it down to how many contacts you've made, and then just start tracking how many contacts and increase them until you're on pace to hit your goal. And it's really that simple. Your ABCs, so all leads in your system need to be in a pipeline, and you have to have your A's, B's, and C's categorized. This is really all you need to do with your leads. If you make it more complicated than this, then you're going to have 27,000 categories in your database soon. And you're going to be like, well, I got this under the expired, but they used to be new construction plan. And then this one over here is like my FSBO plan, but it's my FSBO plan for the neighborhood I used to live in. You got so damn many different categories, you can't even find the people. And so then you forget about them. So I recommend having 3 categories only in your CRM for your lead tracking. Now, your lead tracking software, your lead tracking system should be different than where you have your past clients database. So if you're able to separate those two, or at least have a category where you could say, okay, past clients, right? So past clients or sphere. So you have 2 categories to find everyone in your sphere and everyone that's a past client. You can grab those 2 and market to them directly. And then you got everyone else as an A, B, or a C. Now, you could also have seller or buyer or both. But A, B, and C is super important. So an A is someone who's going to transact business in 1 to 60 days. We used to have 30 and it was just too fast. And especially in this market, I don't know about you guys, but we'd like have no inventory, like at all. So, I mean, you could have someone who is really rock solid, ready to buy a house tomorrow, and they just might not find it for 35 days. So it's just, I mean, that's just the math of the business right now is the inventory is low. So 1 to 60 is an A. A's don't have a plan. Okay. There's no plan for an A. A's like are usually, you should have them on your dashboard of your car. They're in your backpack. I mean, A's, most of us know what to do. These are people who are under contract, ready to buy or sell and want to transact business in 60 days or are going to. When you start out, you may have people miscategorized, yet if you look at it, it should be 60 days of your goal. At a minimum, you should have 60 days of your goal in your pipeline. So if you're going to sell 24 houses this year, as a rough number, you need a minimum of 4 people that are A's. You probably need more like 8. That's not because your A's are not good. It's just because you miscategorize people or their intentions are to buy in 60 days and then something changes in their life. So you'll need a minimum of 4, probably closer to 8, okay, in your A's. Your B's are 61 to 120, and then your C's are 121 to 365. And I think if you just look at your A's, B's, and C's, you follow up with them accordingly. Your A's obviously are either daily or weekly. I mean, you're talking to them all the time because they're usually wanting to move forward on something. Your B's, you're talking to them twice a month. So we typically are going to try to create in your ideal weekly schedule. You're going to put 2 of your time blocking sessions per month, say on the 15th and the 30th, you're going to talk to your B's. So you can just know, okay, I'm going to talk to my B's on the 15th and the 30th. And maybe you get through half of them on the 15th and half of them on the 30th. Okay. And then your C's, there's 1 day per month. And maybe that's the 20th of every month while you're at open houses that are not busy. You're just going to follow up with those random people, send messages to people that are colder. They're, 4, 5, 6 months out. Maybe they're a year out. But you're combing through that C list to just communicate, let them know you're doing an event right now, giving away or picking up stuff for donations for warm coats, or you're giving away a holiday pie, whatever you're going to do from an event standpoint, even though they're not a past client yet, but you may want to invite them because they're the HR director at IBM. And you really want to get that person into your database as a known person, and you had a 20-minute conversation with them open house 4 months ago, and you just want to solidify that relationship, right? We've all had those where you really want them to be in your sphere, but they're not really there yet. Invite them to your events, okay? So tracking your leads. Accountability. So check in each week. Now this can be a coach that you check in with. This can be a family member, could be your significant other. If those of you that have kids that are over the age of 7, you could probably even get a smart 5-year-old a picture of like Disneyland or something, like, if mom or dad goes and gets this, I mean, I'm going to take you to Disney. I'm going to, take you on a cruise, whatever that is. I'm going to hit my goal. And then do we have enough leads? So from a lead gen standpoint, sticking on the topic of the day, which is leads, do you have enough leads? Our answer was no. So when we audited this, so I know now I need 450 leads to hit my closings for this year. So I have to adjust it up by quite a bit because our percentage of what was in my brain, I was just, thinking we were doing better than we really were. And really, when I look at it, it's like, well, no, it's just not there. Even if I just am like, I told Luetta the other day, I'm like, I'm really mad about it. I want it to improve. I want to get better at our conversion. Like, why is it so low? It doesn't matter. Like, I either am willing to increase the budget to get to 450 or I don't want to hit the goal. Either one's okay, but it's not emotional. It's just, this is the fact of where I'm at. You know how many leads you got in 2020 or how many you didn't. And, if you followed up with them and your conversion rate is 10% or 50%, it makes no difference whatsoever what your conversion rate was. The only thing that matters is that you know what it was. You know how many leads you got total. And again, it might be off by a little bit, but even if you just have a scratchy piece of paper, I mean, I have worked off of these forever, right? Just a notebook. I mean, that was what I used to have all my leads on, and it's just a mess. Now I've graduated to this, which is a slightly smaller notebook that can be put in my pocket. If I have a lead, this is how my 47-year-old self works. So for those of you that are, older or whatever, like, I have to just write the lead down. I picked up a $2 million buyer yesterday from my brother-in-law. He's like, here, call my buddy. He wants to buy this house. Okay, so I sketch it in here. Now, once a week, Luetta, who's the director of my lead gen, makes me open my book up and read to her all the people that I scratch in here. But this is just how I am. I'm not going to necessarily change and start beaming things and, sending, some sort of things into the database. Now, that's a neat thing. And for those of you that comes natural, like my kids, I'm sure we'll be, putting stuff into Commissions Inc. and they'll just be doing stuff into Command. And that's awesome. What you got to use is a system that's going to work for you. So for me, I got to handwrite it and someone else has got to put it into our system so I don't lose it. At any given time, in order for us to hit our goal, now these things haven't changed. I need a minimum of 50 leads in my A category. So when I look at my team pipeline, I got to add everyone's pipeline up and I have to have a minimum of 50 A's in there at all times. And I have to have 100 B clients in our pipeline in order for me to know. And these are minimum numbers. Now, reality says I'm probably going to need closer to 250 B leads because they're not all going to transact. I'm dealing with newer agents. I got 4 agents on my team that are less than 3 months in the business. They're going to have people put into a B category because they say that they want to move, say, in the spring, but then they're not real. Or they forget to tell you their cousin's an agent or whatever. All right on time. So I got 10 minutes left. I'm gonna stop sharing this so I can see you guys. So I know I barely even took a breath. So I apologize for going super, super fast. I know I had 45 minutes to go through what normally takes 2.5 hours. So what questions do you guys have? What specifics can I help you with? Any questions from team building, lead gen, anything you want?
On your event calendar, Jason, you had Thank You Tuesday. What do you do for Thank You Tuesday?
So Thank You Tuesday is to just take someone and highlight them as a like thank you to, so today would be an awesome example. I should tell Annie, hey, my brother-in-law, which I'm listing his house, by the way, right, referred me to his friend that's going to buy a $2 million house. So then on Tuesday, hey, thank you, Bree and Kelly, tagging them in Facebook. Thank you so much for referring your friend and the trust and confidence you've placed in us. We so appreciate it. So it's just thanking people on social media, sending them a thank you. So then that's also her everyone that she misses. So we have a referral program. So if one of you sent us a referral, you would automatically get a coffee mug, a handwritten card from me saying, thank you. Referrals are the backbone of our business. We sincerely appreciate you thinking of us. And we want you to know that we'll take great care of them. And so that is a coffee mug in a box. They're already all pre-done. So there's 20 of them at a time that are on the shelf in our office. They're all pre-done. The cards are handwritten. They're done in advance. So there's always 20 on the shelf. And so when we get a referral, that goes out at an absolute bare minimum. It's just, that's a system. Now what we're making it better. So on Tuesdays, that would be Annie's way to say, okay, when it comes up on her calendar, thank you Tuesday, who do I need to market that we thanked this week? Did we send any referrals out? Did we thank anyone? And just making sure that she's looking at it from a marketing standpoint. So she's only been on our team since June of last year. Like, we've been doing this stuff since the beginning of time. We just forget to tell anyone. Like, I mean, we're selling houses like every day, it seems like. I haven't had Facebook in 3 weeks because I got crabby about it. And so I just deleted it off my phone. And so now, unless I log in once in a while on my laptop, I'm like, I'm not even on social media. Well, that's kind of dumb, because like the whole rest of the world's on there. And so we have to be good at marketing what we're doing. And so that's what the Thank You Tuesday is, to just say, what are we doing to market the people we're thankful for? What else? What are the questions, comments? What's your greatest challenge in Rochester or Southern Minnesota?
Inventory.
Lack of inventory.
The neat part is, and so just be careful of the story that we tell ourselves. I was just telling a client this the other day. I'm sure it's pretty similar where you are. The number of closings is up, right? The number of closings is up. So don't brainwash yourself that we don't have enough inventory. We're just selling the damn stuff faster. But you have more opportunities to go to closings in January of 2021 than you did in January of 2020. You have more closing opportunities, which is the only thing yes, we all want inventory. Shit, I'd like to sit on 40, 50 listings like I used to. And the fact that I'm at 13 or 14, it makes me like start to get sick to my stomach. And that's because when I usually have 20 or 25 pendings, they're just selling as fast as we get them on. They get 2, 3, 4 offers or whatever. Use them as an opportunity. Make sure you're using the coming soons, right? So you're listing it as a coming soon. You're taking that opportunity to get a sign out there, say coming soon, like market it for a longer period of time. So just don't brainwash yourself that limited inventory means limited opportunity. It's just that the reason you have limited inventory is because you're selling the damn thing so quickly. So they're selling, but you have more closings. The number of actual closings in most markets, and some it's probably down, but in most markets it's up. And certainly where we are, that's the case. We've got the lowest inventory we've ever seen since they've been keeping track. And the number of houses selling is up as well. What else? I should check this chat thing.
How would you continue marketing houses that have accepted offers? And if you have limited listings and that's the only one you have left?
So I think the easiest way to get listings is to actually use your buyers as bait. Okay. So what I would do, so like Karen, do you have a buyer right now that you're working with?
Yes, I have a couple.
Okay. And so what I want you to do is I want you to write a Facebook ad, okay, with their permission, maybe even a picture of them. If they don't want their picture, then just do a post with a house that you sold in the past, looking for a house kind of like this. So I'm working with Tom and Sue, or I'm looking with, Carol and Mark or whatever, and they're looking for a home around 250,000 plus or minus in approximately this area. Who do you know that would like to sell their home easily, off market, possibly for more money, and have the most convenient real estate transaction ever in their entire life?
And you'd put that on Facebook?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because here's the thing. What's the worst thing that could happen is someone's going to call you.
Yeah.
The easiest way to get a listing is to tell someone about a buyer. And the easiest way to get a buyer is to tell someone about a listing. Ain't no one calling us as realtors. No one's looking for a damn realtor. They look for houses.
Right.
So we got to get better at telling a story about the people we're working with. If I were going to do open houses, I mean, I would be looking. So, you know, is there any listing within our brokerage? Okay. Is there any listing that would be even within like the realm of possibility for that buyer? Is there anything sitting on the market that's slightly overpriced that you can think of?
This buyer is kind of specific on their needs as far as their outbuildings and garage sized doors and things like that, and and one level housing. So it's just.
And so here's the thing. Are we willing to door knock, right? Create a half sheet of paper with just a quick bullet point, right? So I'm working with a real buyer. So this is your half sheet of paper, right? I'm sure this is recorded, so Katie can send this out so you can slow it down because I probably talk too fast. Take a half sheet of paper and you print on there. I'm working with Carol and Mark. They are a real buyer. They're looking for a home like yours. They'd like at least a couple of acres. They'd like at least one larger outbuilding. And they'd like to buy sometime in the next 6 months. I'm sure you may not be interested. This is the key part of this postcard / half sheet of paper. I'm sure you're not interested. Yet who do you know that would fit that description that would want an off-market, easy transaction where they could sell their home for the most amount of money?
Sounds good.
And then go door knock, because here's the thing. Now you got bait. For those of you that like to fish, I mean, you ever got that dead minnow? I mean, you ever just get so like it's down, like your fish are biting and you just put the dead one on. I mean, like literally the dead one works just as good. Like they're just biting. Well, if you don't have any bait, throw the hook down. Even when they're biting, if there's no bait, you just probably aren't catching anything.
Gotcha.
So using that client as bait. So if you have a buyer, get out there and start door knocking. If you go to rural properties, I live in a rural property, so I live on acreage. I don't like people. You know, I do this for a living, so I get sick of dealing with people. And it's like, I don't think I've had 5 people come to my damn door, excluding small children selling things, right? Which every single one of them, by the way, I bought something from. Every single child. If you have a child, if you're young, if you have children that you can bring in a wagon or something. I mean, it probably doesn't work if you're looking at 10 acre properties in the winter. But you know, if you're going around, and so Karen, for you just say, hey, I was on my way to show another property and I thought of stopping by. I've got a buyer that's looking for something. I thought I'd leave this. I'm sure you're not interested. Like, I'm sure you're not interested. See, the number one thing you're going to hear when you're door knocking, when you're going to open houses, whenever you're prospecting someone that's just a little bit cold, right? If you the number one objection they're going to have is, I'm not interested. So if you think about it, you've got to come up with your opening statement needs to take away the number one objection you're going to hear. So always be thinking, if you're going to call, like for instance, for Aaron, right? So Katie, you can take this note for Aaron. If you're calling agents that are super busy, like I'm sure you're probably super swamped, love your company and don't want to move ever. Like, cause that's the number 1, 2, and 3 things she hears from every agent. I'm sure you're super swamped, super busy and don't want to leave your company ever. Like, I'm only interested in talking to happy people who never want to move. And the only thing I was wondering is if I could buy you a cup of coffee and if I could offer you something that would improve your business, would that be okay?
Good job.
And I mean, at the end of the day, like there's no reason for someone to not want to talk about what would improve their business. Would I like for them to come to Keller Williams? Sure. Do I care if they come? No. If I genuinely help them with their business, then that will probably make their life better. And maybe someday if they come, they would think of me. Same thing with your acreage clients. You got buyers looking for something. I would literally drive around the country going to houses that you think would be an estimate of what they're looking for. Now, for every house that you stop at, they know all the people that live around there. Right? If they've been there for 10 years or 15 years, they know the neighbors, they know the people, their cousin lives on 5 acres. And again, it's just a contact sport. And if inventory is low, use your buyers to create opportunities to get sellers, and vice versa. Use your sellers for opportunities to find buyers. What else? We're a little bit over, so for those of you that got to hang up, you can hang up because I'm done at 12, right, Katie? I can stay on. Like, I have 10 more minutes if people have more questions.
You're welcome to stay on as long as you are able and people have questions.
What else? Everyone's so shy. I know John isn't shy.
Jason, you are so funny. Thank you.
John already knows everything.
No, I continue to learn every day, just like Jason does. Jason, thanks for your time today also. Great presentation.
Yeah, no problem. Have a lead gen plan. I guess in summary, have a lead generation plan and execute it. You just need to make more contacts. Don't be afraid of failing. You know, it's like I said, I've failed more in 60 days than I probably did my first 2 years. It's just like, wow. Like you just when you get kicked in the face like that, sometimes it wakes you up, and so let it wake you up. You know, so successful people get kicked in the face too. It just wakes them up instead of makes them give up. And so that is really the defining point, I think, for anyone in real estate. You know, everyone that is successful goes through the same crap, the same challenges, the same, you know, doubt and, you know, fears or whatever. And you let them define you. You know, I mean, we all have ups and downs, and the difference between a rut and a grave is the depth of the hole. You know, so don't allow yourself to get into a rut and then stay there forever, because you just keep burning the hole deeper and deeper and deeper, and you know, I mean, it's harder to get out, and it's not impossible. So sometimes I had, when I first started, my first 6 months I didn't sell a single house. I didn't even sell one, and then my second 6 months we sold 64. And, you know, people are like, well, what the hell changed? And I think, well, I lost my driver's license, you know, so that was kind of fun. So, I mean, as a realtor, it's super difficult to sell houses without a vehicle. So I was rollerblading back and forth to my job as a waiter. And I was listening to this Mike Ferry tape. So for those of you that have heard about Mike Ferry, he was my first coach. And so I was listening to this tape that I found in the office, just a little, you know, cassette tape that was laying on the counter. And so I listened to it every day. I'm rollerblading back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so that's where I got this. I had to make 10 contacts every single day. So his thing was you had to make 10 contacts every single day, 10 unique contacts every single day. And he's the one that gave me the idea about the Alpo dog food. He says, when you want it bad enough that you're willing to eat the can if you don't make your 10 contacts every single day, you can write a check for any amount of money you want to make in this business. And I'm thinking, really? Like any amount? And 10 contacts a day. So I was starting to say, before I got interrupted with my own self, my girlfriend at the time told me that this real estate thing was stupid and that I shouldn't do it, and that I should go to college and just, you know, be like every other normal person and go get a college degree. And so she really instilled in me everything I needed to be successful, because she exposed, all you had to do is tell me I couldn't do something or that it wouldn't work out. I just needed a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. So for those of you that had just someone not believe in you or not think it would work, or even if you started to think that about yourself and you're just like, this real estate thing is tough. Like, no, it isn't. No, dumb people that barely get out of high school can make stupid money in this business. And I make over $1 million a year in this business, and I barely got out of high school, right? It's just, this is dumb. It's not even like fair, right? This is like barrel fishing. And I just broke it down to one thing. You got to contact people. If you want to make it more complicated than that, then understand that that's you. Now, if you're smart, if you graduated like at the top of your class, the cards are kind of stacked against you a little bit, because you're going to probably overcomplicate it. because you're smart. That's what smart people do. They take really simple things and make them complicated because you have that ability. So if find a person who's just a little slower than you that can help you slow it down. It's just the number of people that you contact, the number of people. And then when you talk to them, just be nice. Like, contact them, be nice. Don't be attached to the outcome. And that's where I think all success in real estate becomes super easy, when we're making enough contacts that every one of them doesn't have to move. And if you make so few contacts that every person you talk to needs to move Friday, that's where we can get so upset and just kind of feels defeating, when in all reality, it's not the people or the lack of opportunities or whatever. It's just the lack of numbers, a numbers game. It's just for us to know more people and to talk to more people. So put together your lead gen plan and execute it. And call me anytime if you have questions. If you ever need help, let me know. And someday we'll be able to come back in person. It really was terrible that we didn't do the Thanksgiving. That is the first Thanksgiving I've missed since 2003, by the way. So for those of you that are new in the market center, that Thanksgiving is, it's right up there with my mother's. I look forward to it every year. So hopefully we're back on for this fall.
Could I ask you one question?
Absolutely.
What could you do that phrase again? Successful people hate failing, and I didn't get to write the rest.
So successful people hate failing.
Mm-hmm.
Average people fear failing. Right. So the difference between being successful is they hate failing just as bad. They just don't fear it.
Okay.
So don't be afraid of failing. Don't be afraid of having it go bad. Don't be afraid of door knocking or working with a buyer. If you've lost a buyer, or if your one and only client you're working with right now fires you this week, it's okay. Like I got fired this week too. Like, I lost $3 million literally in one day. I lost one client. They were buying for $2 million and selling for $800,000. And I went to high school. I mean, I've known her forever.
Okay.
And they literally looked at, we talked about the house. They're going to buy this house. We're going to go. And then she goes and buys it from the listing agent without me, and then has the listing agent sell hers. I mean, it didn't hurt that bad. It just stabbed kind of a little bit. So it's
yeah,
you just have to get better at allowing failure to be part of the process. Failure doesn't have, and we all deal with setbacks. We all deal with disappointments. I'll never forget one of the worst years of my career was 2006. 2007. The market was really hemorrhaging, and we did a lot of new construction. The market was really tough. And so we shut down our mortgage company that year. We used to own 8 Keller Williams offices. We were forced to sell 3 of them. International came down on us and forced us to sell 3 of them because they weren't profitable. We were forced into selling our mortgage company. Each one of us partners had $1 million lien against our house as a line of credit for some people that we were in business with that ended up racking up that line of credit. It was a mess. It was a really messy year. And oh, by the way, my team lost $200,000 in GCI from the year before, which we had never gone down before. We just always did more. We did more units, but the average sales price dropped so bad. And new construction stopped selling. So our market was really bad. It was hemorrhaging. And that year, my best friend lost his wife and his son within 6 months. And so it helped me really realize that, all this shit that I'm going through is not that bad. And some of you have been through some really crappy stuff, right? You had some really crappy personal things or whatever. Don't let real estate, this isn't that big a damn deal. And so we can get really hung up on it, and it can really beat you up. And you're just I need to do this. I need to be successful. You know what? You do the activities and you'll be successful. If you keep a positive mindset. And I've told my friends so many times that it was, I was losing money hand over fist. I remember we had a bunch of rental properties that were just, whatever, crappy tenants not paying. It was a kind of a brutal time. 06, 07, 08, 09 it was a rougher time for those of us that weren't prepared for it. And I remember I've told my friend this, I'll see him tomorrow night. We have a bunch of us from high school get together and play poker. And so I'll see him again tomorrow night. And I feel like every single time I see him, I just want to thank him, because his life, like I spent 3.5 weeks at the hospital with him on the floor of the hospital, the waiting room, while his wife is hooked to life support. It was terrible, right? Just absolutely a horrible, heinous thing to go through. And I thank him all the time, because I think without that perspective, I may have thought that like literally losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in companies and having shit go bad financially was really a bad deal. And so without that proper perspective, don't have to be so close to something that's really real and tragic to realize that what you're going through is just like a setback or a speed bump or a roadblock or whatever. And so I think sometimes like we all go through life and we all would like it to be all positive, right? Like you want all your personal relationships, your business relationships, your work, your money, all those things to be awesome. And the one thing that life will teach you is that things aren't always going to happen the way you want them to. And so my faith life has really always gotten me through. And, you know, like I say, that having the proper perspective, I think, is crucial when you're dealing with any sort of challenges regarding financing or work, because I think it's super important to just have that perspective to make sure that you're doing what you can, and you're not expecting like success to define whether or not you're doing okay as a person. You can be happy. I've been broke and I've been happy, and I've been wealthy and I've been happy, and the opposite has been true too. So it's just, it'll make you more of who you are, you know. So I think if you focus on being a better person and focusing on the things that you can control, and then realizing that, you know, we are going to head into some pretty precarious times. I believe 2021 could be a challenging year for real estate, and there's conflicting opinions on that. I actually welcome, you know, challenging times, because I believe that it separates the people who are here because it'll be easy versus the people who are here to help other people. And I think that the challenging times are usually when you can really define, like, I think it's easier to find people who appreciate you when it's challenging. It's easier to get lost in the mix when it's, you know, the market's flying and there's, you know, double or triple the amount of realtors that there are normally.
I think you have another vocation, ministry. You are definitely a motivational person.
Well, the funny thing about motivation, I've found this in my life, is that you can't motivate anyone. You can just reveal they're motivated, right? You're all motivated. We're all motivated. And my job isn't to motivate you. It's just to reveal that you actually are motivated. And we get beaten down, right? As people, you get beaten down because you had failure. You had something not work out the way you wanted in your life. You had relationships that didn't work out, or you had, you know, whatever. I got a 19-year-old. So, I mean, anyone ever had a 19-year-old? I mean, I just want to put her on Craigslist every once in a while. I mean, like, she's so stinking smart, you know, like you'd be lucky. I even made it this far from her
Don't let
perspective.
her hear you say that. Don't ever hear her let you say that.
Oh, holy buckets. It's funny, because the reason I probably am so irritated by her is she's literally identical to me. My wife hates both of us, you know, because she is just like me, and it's just like everything in her being is just as stubborn and argumentative. So having kids, though, like, you have those things, and it's challenging. Like when she was 6, I never thought I would have any challenging days with her. I would never butt heads with her. You know what I mean? Like, she was just my baby. Like, I mean, we just went fishing, and like, she's just my little baby princess. And now, you know, she's 19 and she's way smarter than I'll ever be. And, you know, I'm just dumb. I mean, she can roll her eyes more than anyone I have ever seen. And so as a parent, so those of you that have been parents, it's like, so you deal with these challenges. And I say this because I think it's important that from a motivation standpoint, motivation will come and go, right? Motivation will come and go. I think, why do you want to be successful? Why do you want to do better? And how can you help other people? I think, you know, for me, That's the only reason I've really loved building a team. It hasn't been easy. It's actually much harder than selling houses. The building of the team has been much more challenging, and it's really rewarding because again, you help other people achieve their greatness. And to your point, Karen, I mean, it sounds like motivation, but again, it's not meant to be motivating, but more just reveal the motivation inside you, right? Because all of us have that. And then I think it may be the 27th time you heard something similar today. And then my only hope is that 27th or 28th time you hear it, it's the one time where you're like, you know what? I need to just take action. Because sometimes the easiest way to flip that triangle, like maybe you get into a funk, right, with that mindset piece, the easiest way to invert the triangle is to start taking action. Because when you start taking action, it turns it around, right? So if you start calling people, if you made 10 contacts today, eventually you're going to get an appointment with someone who wants to work with you, which then can change your mindset and change your willingness to practice. And then again, you keep doing the activities.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
From another lifer. Karen, how long have you been doing this?
25, 26 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's anyone been doing it longer than that? Probably John, you have.
Yeah. Forever. I came in from the building side, Jason.
Yeah, I remember I had an MLS book subscription. So, people
And
think
John went to real estate school with Jesus, so he's been around a while.
Yeah, quite a while.
So
Well, success is simple. It's not
getting remotivated with being quiet during COVID and not doing a lot. And I'm think, gee, maybe retirement isn't so bad. But then it's so damn boring. It just drives me crazy. So
Yep. And don't allow COVID. So, the one thing that we did, so maybe the reason that we're up, right? So we're up from last year. Our sales price is up, our units are up, our team is up, our income's up. Like in every category, we're up this year. And I think the biggest reason that we're up is we just kept working. So call your clients, call your people, just check in with them. So I have some auto texts in my phone. One is to a business owner and one is to a person. And it's just, how are you doing? How are you holding up? How has everything been going? If you know anyone that's in the restaurant industry, if you know anyone that's in the hospitality industry, right, I would contact those people. If you know someone that's a bartender or a waitress, I just wanted to check in with you. How are you holding up? Like that goes a long ways. Send that as a direct message on Facebook, right? If you have 10 people that you used to be a bartender with. So contact people. So double down on your contacts right now. Don't go the other way. Don't allow this COVID thing. If you'd have told me that I'd be sitting in a damn room with a headset on and a Zoom thing, like doing meetings like this, I actually listed a house this morning on Zoom. I got another one on Thursday. Hell no. If you would have told me this is what I would be doing, I'd have told you were like a liar. Just embrace it. All right, I can sit here in a pair of shorts, right? And you'd be none the wiser. Right? I used to wear a suit. Those of you that know me for a while, like I used to wear a suit for like 20 something years. Then COVID hits, and I guess this is better than like a Corvette or a new girlfriend or something. Like this is just, so my midlife crisis, I'm now wearing like flannel shirts and sitting behind a Zoom video. So just embrace it because you can make more contacts and be more efficient. We've been more efficient with our time. Like I say, I just got off the phone with my brother-in-law. I was checking in about the person I'm going to meet on Friday. We're going to go show him some $2 million houses in Minneapolis. I mean, I don't work in the $2 million price range, right? And it was one of those things where when I followed up with him, then he called me back right after. He's like, you know what? I thought about what you said. Cause a lot of times I'll ask like, who else do you know that's just like you that I could help? Cause I really love working with you. And I'll say that to clients, like, this is my brother-in-law, right? Like, who else do you know that's like you? Well, his buddy just inherited a gigantic concrete company. He's 29 years old. He's going to buy his first house at $2 million, right? Like, so don't be afraid to ask.
My granddaughters.
What's that?
Maybe I should send him my granddaughter's pictures.
Yeah, no, he's married. He's got a wife, and like I say, yeah, this will be their first house. So and I got it because I asked him who he knew that was like him. So who do you know that's like you? So if you have a client, so Karen, when you call your buyer today to ask for permission to run that Facebook ad, just say, hey, I just want to make sure it's okay with you to describe your situation, and or would you mind if I tagged you in it so that everyone you know knows that we're looking? And then you tag them in it. You put their picture or whatever whatever you want to do, but ask them for permission, and then just say, you know what, I just love working with you guys, and I just so appreciate that you gave me the opportunity, Karen. Who do you know that's like you that I could work with to help as well? Right? Who do you know that's like you? I stole that from my financial advisor guy years and years ago, because that's the way he would end every meeting with me. I just love working with you, Jason. Like, who do you know that's just like you? I've referred him to damn many people because of that script. Like, because every time I met with him, he like asked me again. I'm like, I don't know, I told you about Tom and I told you about this person. Well, then one day he's like, he actually stopped me. He's like, even just any of your friends' parents, because it's probably hard. You run in a circle of people who are really successful. It's probably hard to think of more successful people. And I'll never forget this. He's like, so even think like some of your friends' parents. And I thought of it, and I'm like, well, my mortgage guy's dad just sold his company. And he later told me one time when we were having coffee, he's like, Mike is my biggest client. And I gave it to him. Maybe he sold the company for lots of millions of dollars and put it all with Mike. I mean, it's like, but he was in a habit of always asking for those referrals. So just be in a habit, of asking people who they know that you could help. That's just like them. Reach out to people today. Use the Corona as a way to just reach out. How are you holding up? How's it going? If you know that they got kids, how's distance learning going? How's school going if they're back in school, right? So whatever their situation, think about their situation. I just want to let you know I was thinking of you today. I just saw your post that you put on Facebook. I was thinking about you today. I hope you're doing awesome. How are you guys holding up? You don't need to say anything about real estate. Like, resist the urge to be a realtor when you're making contacts. It will come up. I guarantee. Ask them about their work. Even if they don't know what you do, then they'll ask you about your work. All right. I've probably taken more than enough of your time. What else? Anything else that you guys got? Any other questions before I sign off? Okay. You guys make it a great day. Thank you for stopping in.
Thanks, Jason. We so appreciate taking the time to talk with our agents. You always give such valuable information and are always so transparent. And we just love that about you. So
awesome.
Good to see you. Hopefully next time it's in person.
Yeah, sounds good. Bye.
Thanks.